I think Drake is going to ask for something that no artist has ever asked for or received as far as compensation for damages.
Mm-hmm. On the lawsuit side,
we talking upwards of $2 billion.
$2 billion?
Absolutely.
Family Matters is probably the best song in this whole thing. It ain't no probably. It's the best record that's released in this entire beef.
Drake wasn't done taking the battle from the booth to the courtroom. And this morning, the judge just handed him
another L.
Yesterday evening, somewhere around 6 or 7 o'clock, it was finally confirmed. The news broke that Drake's a bitch.
Lawbries and Gentlegrams. In today's episode of Lawbry in Gentleland, I had to stretch out the L in Lawbry, and you probably know why.
Spicy.
Because when it seemed the scene of free speech that leaves MCs lyrically deceased could see a breach if Lawbry's court case was well received by the GUDGE, we could have seen the end of diss songs. But luckily the judge didn't get it wrong and didn't deem Tupac's strategy strong. Now the media is smoking on that Lawbry pack like a bong. Certified lover boy, certified lawsuit buffoon, being clowned by everybody inside and out of the courtroom. So let's take a look at how it keeps getting worse for the nail painting, petition printing, petty Polly Pocket. But first, smash a like and subscribe if you're happy Lawbry's lawsuit is off of the docket.
I study
Rapaholics
for a living.
Now, Lawbries and Gentlegrams, before we get this thing started, I have a very special announcement. Go subscribe to the brand new Rapaholics channel where we'll be doing daily reaction videos to everything going on. We're less than 400 subscribers away from 1,000 subs, so I'm going to leave a link in the description. Make sure to go subscribe to this new channel because everything that's not being covered on the main channel, we're going to be covering there. And leave some comments on any random topics you guys want to see because most likely I'll be covering those on the second channel. Check it out again in the link in the description. I also, before the holidays, want to do some sort of giveaway for you guys. You guys have been amazing with all your support to me, so I want to give that back to you. I really wanted to give away a GNX cassette tape. I thought those were super dope, but they're all sold out on Kendrick's website. So maybe we'll do like a Good Kid, Mad City vinyl giveaway or some PG Lang merch or something. I'll keep you guys posted on that. And go follow me on Twitter as well. I'll leave a link in the description for the Rapaholics Twitter because we still haven't crossed 1,000 followers on there. All right, we're very much big losers on Twitter, and I'll probably be doing the giveaway on Twitter. So make sure to check it out. Now, Lawbries and Gentlegrams.
I study
big losers
for a living.
As we know, Drake possibly suffered the worst L of his entire 15-year career when the judge granted the dismissal of his lawsuit over losing a rap battle. The judge
studies rap battles for a living.
Now, this is not just a reputational L for Lawbry, but it's also a massive financial L. We have Megan Cuniff, who's an American legal affairs journalist. She's covered a lot of high-profile court cases, most notably the one between Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion, and she had this to say about the L that Drake just took. One thing all these PR companies are absolutely willing to do is charge Drake a huge amount of money to write these press releases and flood the inboxes of people who definitely have better things to do than spend time reading them. Between the intense and at times nearly hysterical PR effort and the huge amount of billable hours that Drake's lawyers have undoubtedly racked up at insane rates, the cost of shoving this lawsuit on an uncaring public must have been almost out of this world.
Spicy.
Basically, what she's trying to say is that between paying for positive PR and paying for lawyers, the cost of trying to influence how the public sees this case was probably massive. And she implies that all this money Lawbry spent to try and clear his name of all those nasty allegations made on Not Like Us, it didn't turn out too positively for him. As someone who's been sending out a stark warning to Drake in terms of where his career is about to go, because remember, again, he didn't just sue Kendrick Lamar's record label over Not Like Us, he sued his own record label. So, the dynamics of how they market him going forward, how much money they're willing to put up to make sure he has as much of a successful back end of his career as he did in the past. After Drake costed them all this money in legal fees, it might be interesting. And Joe Budden is the one sending out the stark warning. We're going to break that down, but I want to take you guys back to a simpler time when this lawsuit wasn't dismissed and the OV hoes were more confident than ever that not only would this lawsuit shake up the entire game, but UMG would have to pay Drake out a massive amount just to settle with him over promoting Not Like Us. It was none other than Joe Budden's old podcast co-host, Oviho Mall, who had made the absolutely absurd claim that this lawsuit would show us something we've never seen before, where Drake would beat out the massive corporation that UMG is, and that they would be forced to somehow pay him over $2 billion?
Huh?
Do you understand what $2 billion is? Like, first of all, before I play you guys this clip, just understand something, okay? Drake in the last 10 years has probably not made UMG over $2 billion. Spotify pays out about $4,000 per 1 million streams. Let's say Drake has 250 billion streams throughout his entire career. That would pay out about $1 billion in total. And that's the largest sector of where Drake has earned UMG the most amount of money, right? Then you have the Apple Music streams, the CD sales. Let's be very generous and say all of those extra streams and sales combined earned UMG around another $4 billion. Let's be very generous. Let's say Drake earned UMG in total $5 billion. Do you know how much it would take, how much reputational damage Drake would have had to have suffered for the judge to say UMG has to now pay Drake $2 billion when he probably hasn't earned them even double that in his entire career? The judge
Studies rap battles for a living.
Forget about the fact that this lawsuit was a bunch of BS, right? And that, like, this was just freedom of speech. Kendrick's lyrics in that song. Let's say the judge did side with Drake. You think she's telling UMG, hey, you guys hurt Drake's feelings, you have to now pay him $2 billion? This is just ridiculous, guys. But it absolutely makes for a good laugh when you see how quickly this lawsuit got thrown out.
I think Drake is going to ask for something that no artist has ever asked for or received. And it's going to be very interesting to see if he receives that.
As far as money?
As far as compensation for damages.
It's on the lawsuit side.
Absolutely. We talking upwards of $2 billion.
$2 billion?
Absolutely.
At that point, public perception.
At that point, I don't give a fuck what Black Twitter is talking about. I don't care what the barbershops are talking about. Yep. If I just sue Universal for $2 billion in my masters and I won,
Family Matters is probably the best song in this whole thing. It ain't no probably. It's the best record that's released in this entire beef.
Okay, even if you say that.
It's really even smashing on you.
Okay.
Right, Good Kid, Mad City van, I hit the latch and let the door slide.
I mean, mind you, this was the same guy that was dancing like this after Push-Ups just got released before we heard anything from Kendrick Lamar. Now another one of Hannah Phony Montana's meat gobblers, the sandwich snatching Big Mac attacking, Henny hogging hippopotamus, DJ Big Mac a snack Akademiks, he had something to say when Drake's case got dismissed. Now to give him credit, he was never the biggest fan of this lawsuit. He was pretty vocal about how it was not the best look for Drake and no one really goes up against the giant corporate machine and actually wins. And of course, he was right. But his narrative's kind of flipped, and now he's making no sense in trying to defend Drake and rationalizing Drake actually suing over a rap battle. So this is what he had to say.
This was always a weak-ass lawsuit from the get-go. I like Drake. This is a weak lawsuit. It's a weak lawsuit in the fact that, again, if you listen to diss music, I don't like that there was a false allegation put against my guy. It was false. But such is the case with hip-hop. People say really nasty things about each other. So the idea of suing the publisher, and I kind of look at it like in a media sense, you're suing the publisher of said material. I thought he should have sued Kendrick Lamar.
Now, this is absolutely ridiculous, right? For many reasons. I mean, the hypocrisy here is he's admitting that within diss records, you're going to hear insults, you're going to hear allegations. And he admits that that's not something you sue over. But then he goes on to say that Drake should have sued Kendrick Lamar, the actual person who wrote the song, instead of the record label who actually published it. And if he's okay with a rapper suing another rapper over allegations they made in a song, then what would he say about Kendrick Lamar flipping the script and suing Drake over Family Matters and the allegations he made there? Or something even more realistic, what if Whitney sued Drake for bringing her name into this entire rap battle, right? Defaming her, putting her in the middle of all these horrible allegations. Akademiks thinks that Kendrick should be sued by Drake over Not Like Us. Then what should Whitney and Kendrick do over Family Matters? And bigger than that, if you are aware that diss songs are never something to be sued over, then why do you back up Drake suing in any capacity? How would he have had a stronger case if he went after Kendrick instead of UMG, right? The judge would have said the same exact thing. This is not defamation, this is a rap battle. You judge it in the context of the fact that you agreed to participate in this rap battle. You requested on Taylor Made that Kendrick talk about you liking young girls. You also threw allegations at him, so you got some back and his just ended up being the bigger song. Whether it was Kendrick Lamar or UMG that faced the lawsuit by Drake, the outcome would have been the same.
What do I think about the decision? There's a lot of precedents. If they allowed or they said Drake's legal battle is all the way fine and this even goes to a trial, what ends up happening is everybody's going to get sued because you have now opened Pandora's box. So I believe the judge didn't want to open Pandora's box and basically said to Drake, this was this person's opinion more than it was a representation of the facts.
And at least Akademiks here can admit that the judge didn't want to open the Pandora's box of freedom of speech, right? Because that's what you're doing when you allow something like this to go through. When you can say, hey, this guy said something in a song when you agreed to participate in an exchange of songs, but he went a little too far and the song became a little too big. So for that, you now get financial compensation, or this song will be taken down, or some sort of damages will be incurred. What you're doing is you're setting the precedent. You're setting a new landmark for the fact that going forward, every artist is going to have to watch their back in terms of what they say on record because they may face legal ramifications. Sorry, I can't pronounce nothing tonight. And even worse, the record labels publishing the songs will say, whoa, hold up. You remember Drake's lawsuit back in the day when he won all that money because he sued UMG for publishing that very nasty song that hurt his feelings? Yeah, we're not publishing this because there could be another Courthouse Karen, another La Brianna lurking around, and we don't want to face a lawsuit from them. Now, this lawsuit had everybody reacting to it, so we're going to break down a couple of reactions. I mean, you had literal news outlets left and right reporting on this entire thing.
Drake wasn't done taking the battle from the booth to the courtroom, and this morning, the judge just handed him another L.
And that should let you know, like, how unprecedented a lawsuit like this is, right? The fact that news outlets, which are probably predominantly watched by, you know, middle to upper aged, I don't know if that's a term, like, you know, older people, basically, who don't follow rap battles, who don't study rap battles for a living, they're getting this type of news on their TV screens. It shows you how ridiculous not just hip-hop, but the entire world thought this freaking lawsuit was. But before we get to the OV host spiraling, I thought this was an interesting reaction to the entire lawsuit outcome. Glasses Malone posted this little magazine excerpt on Twitter. This was way back in the blog era days, the early days, probably 2009, where I guess Drake, Kid Cudi, and Meek Mill did a photo shoot and cover story together. And the text is interesting. It's a little hard to read, so I'll do it for you. It says, have you been listening to hip-hop this year? If not, we've got good news. The gangster persona is finally dead. And these are the kids who killed it, aka Wale, Kid Cudi, and Drake. Because of course, this was a brand new era where a lot of these artists, J. Cole included, but yeah, it really was those four guys, right? Who brought in this kind of new approach of not just getting more vulnerable on record, but coming from a different background, right? A different upbringing and bringing that perspective into the game. And this was the first time where you saw the next generation, like an entire class of new rappers, emerge from the internet, but also just be rapping about completely different things than the previous generation. Tyler was a great example of this as well, but Drake made some interesting comments in this cover story. So they continue. One song at a time, they built a new era in which duct tape kilos, exotic firearms, and freaky girls are out, and real life is the focus. That can still mean trumped up egos and battle raps, but it also means family drama, vicious hangovers, and regular chicks who will make good love to you, but then stomp out your heart. Wale is as famous for his live shows as for the slick-witted lyricism of his debut album, Attention Deficit. Kid Cudi is the cut-up who scored with the stoner anthem Day and Night and his album Man on the Moon.
Spicy.
And then there's Drake, who found himself turning down multi-million-dollar offers after his single Best I Ever Had exploded. It helps that the girls like Drake a lot. Drake's debut, Thank Me Later, is easily the most anticipated album of 2010. So what do these underdogs think about being cast as gangster slayers? Well, Drake says, the dope boy is going to be a fixture of black culture as long as thug is a legitimate option alongside a job. But I'm not going to rap about how much crack I've sold. And he didn't until about like 12 years into his career when he started making songs like Knife Talk and Mob Ties, where he's talking about, you know, hiring some help to get rid of some guys. And yeah, all these years later is when he decides to portray himself as this big mob boss in the game, but it's also when he decides to sue over a rap battle. And then, of course, lose. It's ironic how the tables turn.
You know what it is, man. Fuck all y'all, man. For real, man. I see y'all boys outside when I see y'all, man. For real, man.
Now, you guys are going to love this, alright? So, of course, the OV hoes are up in absolute arms about Drake losing this lawsuit. And, of course, I'm here to bring you guys the most hilarious tweets that the OV hoes have delivered out of their misery for our pure comedy. So, we have people like this, who are trying to shift the narrative to say the so-called hip-hop community shifted from criticizing major labels and industry awards to now supporting everything the genre has opposed since the beginning, all because they hate one man. It's truly pathetic. Hey, Ovi Ho, stick with me now. Or, maybe just or, everybody is extremely happy that free speech will not be compromised in diss songs going forward. Then there was a comment even more ridiculous where they insinuate that the judge got paid off to give this verdict and dismiss the case. They said, I mean, the judge getting paid off would be one of the outcomes you'd expect and be prepared for when taking a multi-billion-dollar company to court. This would be expected by even the smartest K-bot, LMAO. Drake was prepared. Yeah, Drake was really prepared to lose this lawsuit. That's why he filed it in the first place and spent hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars to track down different people from Kendrick's team like Kojo and go through all these internet comments to post in his lawsuit to show the judge, look, they're making so much fun of me on social media. You have to punish UMG and Kendrick Lamar for putting this song out. But by far the funniest, most ridiculous thing, or tweet, I should say, that has come from an OVHO. I'm guessing this was before the lawsuit got thrown out, but this was such a bad tweet they had to delete the entire thing. They created fan fiction where they imagined a fake pop-out concert that Drake did to get revenge on Kendrick Lamar and UMG. So this concert would be called the Pop Back Show instead of the Pop Out Show. I guess the slogan would be, the Pop Out was cool, but Iceman is colder. And they even invented how many tickets would sell for this show and that it would be sold out. This is what they're imagining in their heads. So it'd be at the Caesars Superdome with 76,000 people, because we know Drake never does venues that big, and that's the size of the venues that Kendrick has been selling out for his GNX tour, right? So they had to emphasize in brackets that this show would be sold out, because we know how his Australia and New Zealand concerts went, right? Like the ones he had to cancel. Yeah, well, in this guy's dream, in this guy's fantasy, Drake is selling out the Caesars Superdome. Let him sell out those 20,000 person venues in New Zealand that he canceled, that he was selling tickets at $45 for, before you start fan fictioning that he's selling out 76,000 people venues, all right? But it doesn't stop there. They had a description of how the show would go. Now, I'm not going to read you the whole thing, but I thought this part was hilarious. They said, the stage has 4 corners open up to reveal broken pillars with owls perched on each of them. This represents the legs on which the music industry stands on, being broken from what Drake has done. Drake and his lawsuit have shaken the industry up, represented by the broken pillars. A spotlight then shines down on Drake, standing on a walkway. He's dressed in full Grupo Vava clothing. Around his neck sits a chain that says Karma Lurks. The KL is for Kendrick Lamar, but it's spun to fit the Iceman era theme. Like, this dude really took the time, from the outfits that Drake would be wearing to the amount of people that would be attending this fictional show. He concocted this entire thing in his head and then decided to type it out and put a little fancy collage of Drake pictures on it and then post it on Twitter. And then, of course, once the lawsuit got dismissed, I mean, he had to delete it, right? Because it doesn't fit the narrative of what this fictional pop-back concert would be. How would the 4 owls represent the broken legs of the industry if it didn't get cracked by the lawsuit exposing all the botting, all the craziness going on within the industry, with Kendrick Lamar being at the epicenter of the bots, right? And this is why I told you guys to follow me on Twitter, because we clown these guys on a daily on Twitter. And I mean, if you thought that this was bad, it only gets worse. And this is a very real video. I'm not making none of this up. This is a real conversation that took place on Twitter the night that Drake's lawsuit got dismissed.
You are arguing number 2, number 3. Matter of fact, that Kendrick ain't even number 2 or number 3. That is number like 30. Let's keep it a buck. That is number 30. Because how the fuck you put your on and they didn't get no clout off of it? Jay Hitter got a scam for $1,000. Absol out here doing drugs on YouTube. What's going on?
Adonis has more monthly listeners than all of them motherfuckers combined.
Adonis is number 2. Adonis is number 2.
They're spending their evening on Twitter, on a Twitter Spaces, glazing Drake's child, all right? This is absolutely disgusting, and this is the point that the Drake fans have gotten to. Oh, and then here's more of them trying to spin, the loss that Drake took in court as an actual W and as an L for the whole industry, because now he really doesn't have to hold back on his Iceman album. I mean, this is what they're saying, and it's absolutely ridiculous, right? I don't know if the internet knows. They should be scared right now. Drake has free reign to do whatever he wants now. There are no legal ties that would prohibit him from doing certain things. It's all off the table now. anything he wants to expose the industry for, all the botting that he couldn't expose in his lawsuit, he can now expose it on his wonderful Iceman album, if that even comes out. I mean, he's been pretty quiet since the reception of Iceman episode 3, right? So let's take a look at the other side now, right? Let's take a look at what some of the bigger K-bots in the industry had to say about, Drake's lawsuit getting thrown out and the clowning they had on the OVHOs and on Drake himself after this glorious victory for hip-hop. So you had Anthony Fantano, who was absolutely going in on all these ridiculous fools in his response to this lawsuit dismissal.
By that point, it was clear that Drake was getting desperate, not getting what he wanted, and was probably going to lose. And yet, there were so many who were still willing to push the lie that this was a righteous battle for Drake to engage in, and that he was most likely going to win. And I want to make sure those people know, because I'm positive a lot of them are watching right now. You are full of f***ing shit. You're liars, you're fakes, you're frauds, you're morons. You should never be taken seriously again. Like, I'm convinced if you guys didn't have this to obsess over the past year, you would actually just be in a cult right now. You would have found a cult to join instead. But instead you did this, and frankly, you should be embarrassed. Like, you really truly should do everything you can to erase this period of your life and move on and, I don't know, get into like stamp collecting or something like that. Just a hobby or a passion or an interest where you're less likely to hurt or annoy anyone or interact with people, because, communicating and reading, it's not for you.
And he's spitting straight facts here, right? Like, if these Drake fans, stans, whatever you want to call them, weren't on Twitter salivating over the monthly listeners that Adonis has on Spotify, they would probably have to find a cult to join, because the behavior they display on this app is that of the most extreme, obsessive, deranged lunatic that you would find in some sort of niche cult. Now, someone who had, I believe, a pretty balanced opinion on the entire thing is Joe Budden. Now, obviously you guys know Joe Budden and Drake have had their fair share of issues for several years at this point. A lot of people like to point to the fact that Kendrick Lamar didn't answer Joey Badman when, that whole Joey versus the West Coast thing was going on. They were trying to discredit him because they're like, oh, Drake was a more successful artist than Kendrick, but he still took the time out of his day to respond to Kendrick, but Kendrick was hiding when it didn't benefit him, when Joey was going at him. That's a video for another day. That whole narrative is absolutely ridiculous for many reasons. I could touch on it in a different video if you guys wanted me to, but the main thing that I want to point out there is it's obviously the OVHOs that push that narrative, right? They don't care about hip-hop. They don't care about getting more diss tracks from Kendrick against Joey. They just want to paint the narrative that Kendrick Lamar is scared of Joey. That's the whole, kind of conclusion they made from Kendrick Lamar's silence. Well, what about when Joe Budden was going at Drake, not just in some sort of, vague shot like too much West Coast D-licking like Joey said. Nah, Joe Budden had 4 tunes for Drake's head top. 4 massive diss records where he predicted and warned about a lot of the things that Drake would see later on in his career. I could do a whole Joe Budden versus Drake breakdown. Drop a comment if you guys want that. But it would be pretty one-sided, right? Because Drake never responded. And then Joe Budden retired from hip-hop altogether, and that's when Drake decided to start taking his shots. So, of course, Joe Budden is having a field day about, this whole lawsuit getting dismissed and what this means for Drake. And we'll touch on that, but they've had a bit of a history over the last few years. Again, Drake has only been pretty vocal about crapping on Joe Budden ever since he knew that Joe Budden wouldn't get in the booth to actually respond to him, because Joe Budden's now retired. Drake has no real threat, so he feels very confident to now go at Joe. Of course, after the criticisms Joe had about his last album For All the Dogs, saying that Drake should probably stop hanging out with, 20-year-old women because he's just rapping about these absolutely ridiculous, superficial things, Drake went back at Joe to say, he's a failed musician and that his opinion on music doesn't matter, and that anyone watching him to think, other opinions count, they don't. Because Joe is a failed artist who gave it up to podcasts because that's what pays the bills, but the bills are not high enough because Drake is on a private jet, while Joe Budden flies first class only on special occasions. Then, of course, with his Sexy Sleepy Songs album with PARTYNEXTDOOR, he decided to avoid taking shots at Kendrick because he knew what that would come with, but instead had a slew of shots for different basketball players, basically anyone who didn't rap, right? And he had some bars for Joe Budden as well. On the song Give Me a Hug, he referenced the Toronto co-star of the Joe Budden podcast, Melissa Ford, when he rapped, "Melissa Ford, you're a legend from the 6. I hate to see you with a D sucker." Now, around that same time, it was reported that Drake had actually paid for everyone's meal at a New York restaurant called Tatiana on Valentine's Day, And it turns out the owner of that restaurant is actually Sin Santana's new baby daddy, who she just had a child with. And Sin was, of course, also Joe's baby mama as well. So this was another little sneak diss from Drake aimed at Joe. Say, hey, buddy, now that you're retired, I'm not scared of you anymore because I know you won't rap back at me. So let me do a couple little things just to kind of mess with your head a little bit, right? And in typical Drake fashion, of course, he was, bringing the women involved too, bringing the significant others of his opponent into his shenanigans. Great job, Drake. Well, Joe Budden had the last laugh. Recently on the podcast, we covered this in a previous video. Joe Budden had actually banned Drake from ever making an appearance on his podcast in the future. Drake is no longer allowed at the Joe Budden podcast. But that didn't stop Joe from talking about everything that went down with this lawsuit and what that means for the future of Drake's relationship with UMG. So of course, when the verdict came out, Joe was one of the first ones to actually react to the news by posting a very unflattering picture of Drake on his timeline. And aside from that, he emphasized people were waiting on him to give his commentary on this entire thing, but Joe knew from the jump, just like his battle with Kendrick, Joe knew Drake would lose his battle against UMG in court. And so for that reason, he doesn't have much to say about it.
We went on your Instagram stories. You was going crazy.
No, I'm going crazy. Stop.
It don't take much.
Stop.
When it comes to this topic, it don't take much.
You had him going crazy.
That's true.
You had the streets in a frenzy.
No, I didn't.
You did.
You
We
did.
told
You
something.
did us, right.
We saw the streets.
Stop it. That wasn't the streets.
The streets was going crazy.
That was me at home watching Dateline, just bored, doing shit.
Looking for
why
pictures?
Not? Oh, no, looking.
Oh, you had it.
You
had it right there.
That's the thing. I just be scrolling and you see some shit, you be like, oh, boy, that's a good pic to post. And it just so happens a few hours later, the Drake news broke about the lawsuit.
Yes. And it looked like you were spiking the football.
No, because to me, it's not that important. I was never one that believed that was going to go a different way. So, to me, yeah, you post a picture, you lost, and then you move on. But people were messaging me like, oh, tomorrow, this is fucking life-changing. Now that we got the verdict, I know you're going to go crazy again. And I'm like,
they expected 2 hours on this. They expected 2 hours on this.
Okay, do y'all have something important to say about it?
I ain't got much to...
And then they go on to speculate, will Drake be punished by UMG for this thing? Because, of course, UMG released a statement after the lawsuit was dismissed where they emphasized, we look forward to continuing with Drake in advancing our partnership with him, and this was just basically a waste of time from the onslaught. But there's a couple important kind of things to factor in to that, right? Yes, UMG has incentive to re-sign Drake, right? They already own a very large portion of his back catalog. We learned that from the lawsuit. That was one of the funniest things is he was trying to dig up, Kendrick's contract and get all the information on Kendrick and UMG's kind of business interactions. But in the end, the only thing we found out from Lucian Grange himself when he wrote a letter to the judge, that's the CEO of Universal, by the way, he admitted that they own a large portion of Drake's catalog. So yes, of course, his back catalog, which continues to stream way more than his new music, yeah, they're going to want to re-sign him because they already own that back catalog. But do they have the same incentive to keep pushing his career further to newer heights, especially after all the money that he costed them by, making this lawsuit a real thing?
For the audience and for people who didn't actually follow the news, Drake's lawsuit against Universal Music Group.
For the people that missed it, yesterday evening, somewhere around 6 or 7 o'clock, it was finally confirmed. The news broke that Drake's a bitch. I'm about to come in here and fucking word me to
That was
death.
easy. Yeah. That's the point.
Oh, he went to court, he lost. The same shit that I told y'all 11 months ago rang true yesterday at around 6 o'clock.
Corks were on the side of hip hop, man.
Some tweet was going around that said Drake lost the nigga way and the white way. That was a good one.
That's a great tweet.
And people just started having fun with this. Now back to the facts. Smart. Take it away.
You basically nailed it. The judge basically said the same thing. In more complicated language.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, that's basically what the judge said. He said that this was basically he was saying this isn't
non-actionable offense.
Yes, non-actionable, meaning you can't
take legal action on this because it wasn't defamation, the judge ruled. He said that this was an opinion. And he said there was no way that someone reasonably would hear that song and think that Kendrick Lamar was stating facts about Drake being a pedophile. That was his opinion. And therefore, you couldn't sue, and he threw the case out. So the case is over, and there's a big loss for Drake.
And also told him that you being called a pedophile was a callback to your song.
Right.
Yeah. Which is what he's up here saying. Like, dog, you can't say, hey, call me this. And then when a nigga call you that, you get mad. Even in Universal's statement about this verdict, they're like, and we look forward to continue working with Drake. And
I bet you do.
Damn right we do.
I think that was
you ain't going nowhere.
I think that was his fight.
Now, the other side, I do think...
Slow down, because you can't bring up that comment and then we not break down the comment.
Oh, okay.
That was quite the, depending on how you read that. Let's see. From the outset, this suit was an affront to all artists and their creative expression and never should have seen the light of day. We're pleased with the court's dismissal and look forward to continuing our work successfully promoting Drake's music and investing in his career.
Yeah.
Do y'all believe that they're going to continue to do that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I think they're going to continue to want to.
I mean, certainly with the shit that they already own, whether his
man,
going
shit be
forward,
here,
it goes somewhere else. They're going to continue to pump his old material.
Fuck yes.
Yeah.
Like any other.
It's a cash cow.
It's a cash cow.
I don't think they necessarily.
I couldn't disagree more.
Yeah, I don't think they will put any money into him proceeding forward. I think they want to crush him.
You're done. You're done. The punishment is coming.
How dare you?
So then Joe makes an interesting point, which I kind of agree with, right? Like, to make an artist that's as big as Drake, it obviously requires a big label push behind it. It's the very reason Drake was suing for, right? He thought that UMG put the real money, put the real red button, all the resources and marketing budget behind Not Like Us to make that the massive song that it was. All the streaming numbers, all the playlisting, that all came off the heels of UMG putting the money into it. That same machine has worked for Drake in the past, right? But he was just mad that throughout this rap battle, they tarnished his reputation by making Not Like Us the biggest song in the world. Joe is saying, will they continue doing that for Drake's music in the future? Think about it like this, right? They're already making so much money off his back catalog. Are they incentivized, or is it in their best interest to, put money up to promote Drake further on the same level that they used to? Every investment comes with risk, right? And we've seen his Iceman singles not perform as well as his previous ones. It's going to cost the label money to make those mediocre songs into massive global hits. Not saying they can't become that, but they can't become that without the label backing him financially. Does the label have the same incentive to back him financially? Is it a smart business move, or is it a big risk to put all your money behind this new Drake music if this new Drake music isn't hitting the same as it used to, and it requires a lot more dollars, and the singles could potentially flop? This is a business at the end of the day. It's plain and simple. If you put $1 million behind marketing a song, getting it onto radio, onto all the playlists, putting it into TikToks, paying influencers to promote the song, whatever the case is, and that song comes back and it doesn't make you more than your $1 million that you put in to try and make the song blow up, then that was a loss for the business. Now with Drake, he just sued the label, right? He just tried to go up and fight the very label he is signed to. Will they have incentive? They're already making all this money off his old music. They don't have to touch that. They don't have to market it or do anything with it. They do have to put a lot of money up to make his new music blow up. And we haven't seen them do that per se yet. Will they do that now that this lawsuit is thrown out? Will they take that risk, that business risk, putting all this money into his new music? Or will they say, you tried to screw us in court, we're going to now screw your future career? Because again, we lose money if we put a bunch of marketing dollars for your music and it doesn't come back and actually produce the same results that your old music did, and your old music makes us so much money without us putting a single dollar towards marketing. We could just eat off that. And B, you went up against us. You costed us hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees trying to fight us and expose us for some BS, right? That same machine that you were trying to expose in court against Kendrick Lamar, Not Like Us, and all the streams and this and that, we're not going to use that on you this time around when you want all of your songs to blow up.
We have not seen the punishment yet. I agree with everything that Ish said. Like, great, y'all are coming from the Drake angle, but UMG is coming from the we own 65, 70% of the market shit. We own this shit. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You can't just listen, back in my day, you couldn't just do shit to the label without fearing the repercussion from the label.
Sure.
So when
you think that he could do all of that to Universal?
Yeah.
and Universal just say, "Oh, well, we won. Glad to still have them."
Back to business as usual.
If I can make another $1 billion off you, I'm gonna make the other $1 billion.
They got enough billions. Though.
I'm gonna make the billion anyway.
No such thing.
That goes against corporate behavior that you're talking about. No one's like, oh, I got enough money in the corporate world, especially when there's stockholders at play.
True.
I'm getting the money regardless.
I'm making the money regardless off of this guy.
I'm making the money off of you.
That's not true.
If what y'all are saying is true, then throughout this case, they would have supported him. We've heard nothing but mad unreleased music that most people think is good from this Iceman shit. Even the Iceman shit kind of pops up and leaves. We have not seen any definitive evidence in the last year I'm with Ish that Universal is committed to spending on the future of Drake. The record labels see a window for you as an artist. So I don't know that they just supposed to continue to believe that he will be what he's been. Nothing that they've done says that they believe he's going to continue to be what he's been.
But that seems to be a different thing, right?
That's different. I don't think
is it that we think your window's closed, so we're just not investing in you because we think you're on a decline, or is it we're going to punish you when you put out new music, or is it both?
It's both.
And then Joe tries to address all the OV hoes who, for the last year since Drake filed this lawsuit have been saying ridiculous things like, yeah, Drake is going to get $2 billion from UMG over this lawsuit, like Maul had said, or, oh, Drake is going to get all his masters back from UMG. As if somehow, them promoting one song by a different artist under their label is going to make the judge say, hey, you know what, UMG, you were so mean to this artist that you now have to give up everything you own from this artist. All the future money you could have made from his old music, no, you have to give all those masters, all those rights right back to La Brianna. Those were the narratives the OV hoes have been trying to spread for the last year, right? Is that Drake was going to expose the industry, expose UMG and Kendrick for using bots, and that he would get all his masters back and leave UMG and get out of his contract and get his masters back. And Joe just emphasizes how freaking ridiculous these narratives were.
I want to talk to the audience members out there that fucking beat me down for a year and change about, well, what if this is going to get him his masters back? And I had to play along. I had to play along with you fucking buffoons out there that was telling me, hey, he's going to be a martyr.
For the independent
They definitely trying to make a Martin Luther King on this shit.
I'm not letting y'all get away with that. Sorry, I can't for what I had to endure the last year and change. Did you guys, in hindsight, did y'all hear yourselves? Dead ass. He's gonna be a martyr and change the rest of the way that music business is done in the music business. Y'all said that and was dead ass about it.
Yeah.
Straight face. I was there. It was last year.
It wasn't even last year. It was a couple months ago.
My memory is not that bad. Like, how do y'all feel about yourselves now? Oh my God. See why you can't be a part of Think Tank? This is how you saying shit. He's gonna get his masters from this.
Yeah, nah.
Yeah, that's the naive shit if you think they're giving up masters.
Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. Anyways,
So then they talk about what's next for Drake, right? Because of course Drake is actually going to try to appeal this case, aka he's going to try to get a new judge on it and get a new verdict. How is that going to go? I don't know, but they emphasize here, right? Like, all this is doing is just prolonging the L that he took to Not Like Us and making it that much bigger. This lawsuit was an attempt by Drake to try and clear his name of those, PDF allegations from Not Like Us. The song became so huge, so Drake thought if he goes in court and the judge proves that, it was just BS, all those allegations, and that UMG should be sued over it, then it'll make Drake look good. It made him look way worse. And overall, it's how Drake has handled this L that made it that much worse, right? Like, if he just lost the rap battle, that would be that, right? We can move on and forget it. Disappear for a year, drop an album, everyone will forget it. Just like with the Pusha T situation, right? I mean, yeah, some people might clown you, but at the end of the day, at least props to you for participating. You're an active participant. Go on, keep doing your music. Everything will be all good. But it's the fact that you made the world not forget about this stain on your legacy. You brought it to court. You have news outlets reporting on this freaking thing at this point. How do you expect people to not remember this L when you keep bringing it up in so many different ways?
what does this verdict mean for really just Drake?
I mean, obviously the appeal is going to drag it out for a little while longer. I don't know how much longer. Probably another 6 months, I would imagine.
Does that push the album back?
I don't think so.
Does anything about this verdict push the album back or push back plans for the album?
Hard to say without knowing whether he's still under terms with UMG. But I guess in their statement they said they want to continue.
They say that?
Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily say that they have anything going forward. I don't know.
I mean, I think Drake's logic is, if I win this case, I have leverage to maybe get away from the label deal.
Yes.
And so I think that would have dictated the album time. Now that he's stuck in, if he's doing the appeal because he thinks he can win it, as opposed to just saving face, I think I think that's going to determine whether the album plans change. Because I think I'm not convinced he thinks he can win this anymore. The way the judge threw it out, and what are you appealing it on?
That's why he shouldn't appeal.
That's what I'm saying, because you're not appealing, unless you're appealing on procedural grounds, like there's something wrong with the procedure itself, it's going to be very difficult to win this case. And every lawyer I've heard talk about this has said this is not a winnable case for Drake.
Appealing just because you have a legal team and you can afford it, it still doesn't make it. It makes it longer. Like it's just more embarrassing. You still like a bitch. It's just wrap it up.
It doesn't help him. So I don't.
Some niggas just can't take the L, man.
There's
It's
that.
I just cannot take the L. I just
Even
can't accept this. If there's any other avenue, I'ma do it. I just cannot accept this L.
That's what the lawsuit was in the beginning. It was a Hail Mary to make the L look less L-y.
Right. And so now it's more L-y.
It's more L-y.
Yeah, it's worse. Like, just let it go.
Learning how to take a L is important.
Facts.
Because everything that he does and has done since this battle has ended has just helped to prolong the success and drag out. Like, you making the legend of Not Like Us just bigger than ever.
Yes.
I seen people streaming it last night. Running it back. I was like, I won't be surprised this shit into the chart again.
Yeah.
Jesus.
And
that's another L.
Word.
And you know what else, man? You fucking Canadians sometimes just can't read an American room. And that's what Americans have been saying for a little while now, right? Like, the crux of this case has been Kendrick was saying mean things.
Yeah.
Like, that was the crux of the battle. He was being mean, and there may be some people that are believing it. Cool. My brother, niggas was telling you, you got beat up, you got punched in the face, you lost the battle. Niggas still love you. You still who you are. Come on back to the party. See, that's what happens in American hoods. No matter what went down at the basketball court down Communal Park, you had to come back. You had to come back. If you beat somebody up, you got to come back. You can't go hide. You got to come back, and now they know that you be at the courts, nigga. They might pull up. That can happen. Hey, if you fucking get beat up, you just got to come back. If niggas start shooting over there, you got to come back. Hey, they started cracking on you. You got to come back. You didn't get picked for 10 fools. You sat there all day. Guess what? You got to come back. There's a home base. There's a home base. For you to lose like you lost and then take your ball and go to Australia and Sweden and Portugal and wherever you and Yachty was at, Turks, you'd have been everywhere else just because of a loss.
That part.
That's the part niggas don't respect.
Yeah.
Anybody could have lost to Kendrick. Nigga, you're not exempt. Kendrick is one of them.
Yeah.
Facts.
But the way that you lost, how you lose that fight, and how niggas see you get jumped in the schoolyard, that matters.
It's a way to get beat
That
up.
matters.
He lost the fight at school and switched schools.
Yes. That's
Switch
districts.
to a far school.
Fresh Prince shit.
He switched districts.
Yeah, he switched whole
He
districts,
went
yo.
down south with his aunt.
Yeah, that's not respectable. It's just not respectable.
And yeah, I agree with this, right? Like, every move Drake has made since this battle has just emphasized that he has been so uncalculated before the battle and after it. And this is the guy that used to be very calculated in everything he did, right? Like with the Pusha T situation, he felt he wasn't cut out for that battle, or it was getting to points where, he didn't like the direction of it. He chose to opt out and instead dropped a bunch of hits, right? Made the world forget about it and redirected the focus onto Kanye, which was an easier target for Drake because Kanye wasn't in the best mental state. And there were some, light, easy jabs that he could throw at him, like crept down the block, made a right, or Kiki, do you love me? Like, he turned those little jabs at Kanye West into hit songs. Respect to him, that was a calculated move. Even though I don't respect him backing out of the Pusha battle, he definitely handled himself in terms of, gaining the love back from the mainstream in the right way. He did the exact opposite with the Kendrick situation, right? went to Australia, went halfway across the world, separated himself from America, dissing American rappers on stage, right? Like he said that American rappers don't hold the candle to UK rappers. Then he starts dissing all these American hip-hop journalists who did nothing to him, like the Rob Markmans, Elliot Wilsons. He puts out this mediocre album with Party Next Door, which, you know, to his credit, he did have Nokia on there. From the jump, right when that album came out, I did say I liked that song. I thought it was a good song. But then even with the music video, he made it like a weak parody of Kendrick's Not Like Us music video, redirecting it all back to the beef. Then, I mean, you guys probably forgot he bought that fake Tupac chain and then announced that he purchased it right when Kendrick Lamar popped out at the Clips concert, stood on stage with Pusha T. Drake tries to divert attention by announcing he bought this Tupac chain. It comes out that the chain was allegedly fake. Or when Kendrick Lamar was performing in Toronto for 2 nights in a row at a stadium, Drake announces that same night that he's going to be doing a live stream with Kai Cenat while Kendrick is on stage in his hometown to premiere these fan-made Somebody Who Loves Me music videos for Drake's song Somebody Who Loves Me, right? And those music videos all came out to be AI, and the live stream with Kai Cenat never even happened. All of these moves just make Drake look like he's trying to scramble for some sort of reassurance. He's crapping on all these American journalists. Meanwhile, he's doing interviews with Bobby Altov or Adin Ross, who's saying rap is dead, or XQC, who doesn't even know his music. Drake is on his stream talking about his fragile ops. What Joe is saying here is that when you lose something, you come back, you shake the opponent's hand, and you walk away at least not being a sore loser, right? He kind of did that with the Pusha T thing. I mean, not completely, but at least he came back with good music and made people forget about the entire thing. With this Kendrick thing, the music hasn't been hitting. All his moves seem petty and desperate. He's sneak dissing, you know, all these different people who don't rap, who can't respond to him, but who supported Kendrick throughout the entire thing, like LeBron James or D Rose. He's dissing Joe Budden, who's retired. I mean, name me one move that Drake has made, maybe aside from Nokia, since this battle emerged that has seemed calculated, seemed like a step in the right direction to make people kind of forget about the battle and move on from it, right? How can we move on from it when you've prolonged this year-long lawsuit that had crazy allegations in it that were not substantiated by any form of actual evidence? It was all just Twitter posts talking about rumors that Kendrick Lamar used bots. No real evidence, to the point where the judge had to throw the case out. Now you're in a position where you're still signed to this label who, for the last year, has obviously been putting less and less money behind your music, less and less support in every song. I mean, the fact that Nokia couldn't even hit #1, it was being blocked by Luther on the charts, shows you how little the label's been supporting your music. He's put out like 40 songs since the battle happened. None of them, aside from Nokia, ended up becoming actual hits. That's unheard of for Drake. Imagine Drake in 2018 put out 40 songs and none of them became hits. And now you want the label who's barely been supporting you over the last year, who you sued, to now support this mediocre music. It's not like you're dropping good music that's worth the investment right now. You're dropping this garbage with Yeet and Central C. Why would the label support that after you sued them? And if they don't support you, what are you left with? A mediocre Iceman album that your fans have been teasing as the big red button, a lost lawsuit that your fans were teasing was the big red button, a non-existent Game 2 where you're sneak dissing LeBron James and Joe Budden that your fans have been teasing as the round 2 that you're going to win against Kendrick Lamar, gambling sponsorships and live streams with Adin Ross. Is that what you're left with here? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think, and I will catch you in the next one.